we have a crisis in the world, tremendous crisis, and also crisis in our consciousness, in us. I see the urgency of change, radical revolution, mutation in the mind. I see it. It is necessary. There is complete quietness of the mind, and that which is silent has vast space. Only then that which is nameless comes into being.
This is Urgency of Change, the Krishnamurti Podcast. Trapped in this peculiar culture and civilization, how am I to fundamentally change, and what is involved in this change? Hello and welcome to episode 281 of Urgency of Change. The Krishnamurti Podcast features carefully selected extracts from Krishnamurti's recorded talks. Each episode highlights his different approaches to universal and timeless themes that affect our everyday lives, the state of the world, and the future of humanity. This episode's theme is civilization. Upcoming themes are vulnerability, science, and despair. This is a podcast from Krishnamurti Foundation Trust, based at Brockwood Park in the UK, which is also home to the Krishnamurti Retreat Centre. Situated in the beautiful countryside of the South Downs National Park, the Krishnamurti Centre offers retreats individually and in groups. The focus is on inquiry in light of Krishnamurti's teachings. Please visit krishnamurticentre.org.uk for more information, including our volunteer programme. You can also find our regular Krishnamurti quotes and videos on Instagram, TikTok and Facebook at Krishnamurti Foundation Trust. If you enjoy the podcast, please leave a review or rating on your podcast app. This episode on civilization has 3 sections. This first extract is from Krishnamurti's second talk in Saanen 1973 and is titled Civilisation Conditions Us.
Seeing what the world is about us and what we are actually, not theoretically. What a world we have created, a world of great brutality, division, wars, appalling cruelties, suffering. Seeing all this, one feels, if one is at all serious, that there must be great change, not only outwardly, but especially within oneself. I do not know if you feel the same thing as the speaker does. How very important it is that there should be this psychological revolution. Because every other form of revolution, social reform, little patchwork here and there, has been of no avail. They haven't fundamentally, deeply changed man. And unless man changes himself, he always overcomes whatever the structure be according to his particular conditioning. I think that's fairly obvious, both historically and actually. And if you also feel the urgency, the seriousness of this change, of this transformation, of this revolution, you must have asked, how is a human mind which has created the outward environment, how can that not merely structurally, but how can the outward change be brought about in relation to the inward change? That is, if you see the necessity of this deep inward change of the mind, and if you take it really seriously, then the question inevitably arises, how am I caught in this world, trapped in this peculiar culture and civilization? How am I to fundamentally change? And what is involved in this change? I'm sure you must have asked it. The more serious one is, the more urgent the question becomes. Can this change be brought about by another, by a philosophy, by a new kind of social structure, by a new religion, or by a new belief? When you put that question to yourself, you have seen whether a new belief has any validity at all. Because all belief, however great, however convenient, is always the outcome of a series of processes of thought. I believe in something, a beautiful ideal. That ideal is the structure brought about by thought. Obviously, when you believe in or have faith in something, it is the result of the process of mentation. Will a new structure, socially, economic, will that change the human mind? Or will it make it more superficial, more convenient, more attractive, more satisfying, and therefore will not actually bring about this change? Will a new authority? Obviously not, because any authority, whether however new, is still patterned after the old. So what will change man? And what is there to be changed? If one observes oneself, we are caught in a world of knowledge, of a culture, of a civilization which has conditioned our mind. Our conditioning is the result of a culture, of a civilization. The Western culture, Eastern culture, and so on. That is the result of our conditioning. The culture, the environment, the civilization has produced this mind. I think that we all accept that, naturally and logically, if you observe it. Now, what am I to do as a human being living in this world, a monstrous world, with very little meaning? What am I to do? How am I to transform myself? How am I to change radically? Because I see I have to change radically. Because everything about me, the way I live, working, frightened, violence, wars, insecurity, all the religious structure which has no meaning at all anymore, the political chicanery, corruption, seeing all this, how am I to change so that it has an effect on the world, and also my conduct, my behavior, my way of living is totally different? Now, is this your problem? If it is not, we can't share it. Sharing means to share something together in which we are vitally interested, deeply concerned, totally committed. If we have a motive in sharing, then it's not possible to share. If I have a motive and you have a motive, which must be obviously be different, how can we share together a problem? And the problem is the transformation of the total activity of man. If you are vitally interested in it, seriously committed to the solution of this problem, that is, how can the mind, which has been shaped through time, through culture, through civilizations, how can that mind totally be transformed so that it moves, acts, functions in a different way altogether? If that is your problem, then we can share it together. But if you say, I have a personal problem, which I must solve with my relationship with my wife, with my neighbor, with I have a particular disease, I want it cured, I hope you will cure it, do this. Then we are not sharing the issue problem. But we will share this problem if you and I are completely interested, totally committed in the solution of this. For me, that's the only problem. In the resolution of that problem, I will solve all the other problems. My relationship with another, my loneliness, my despairs, my anxieties, fears, pleasures, the solution of death, meditation, reality, everything is involved in this. So, if it is your interest, your serious intention to go to the very end of it, then we can talk this over together, like two friends, quietly, deeply, investigating, tracing out, inquiring, and we can only inquire if you are not committed to any other thing but this. If your mind is not free, you can't inquire. You can't investigate. But in the process of investigation of this central issue, the other problems which you have will be solved. Whether they be economic, social, religious, personal, imbalance and all the rest of it. If that is clear, then we can proceed and find out together. I am not laying down dogmatically or hesitantly, but inquiring together, in which there is no authority whatsoever. Neither your authority nor that of the speaker. We are together inquiring, exploring whether the mind can be totally be transformed. This mind that we have, whether it is the European mind or the Eastern mind, with their peculiarities, superstitions, and the Western mind with their absurdities, with their technological knowledge, this mind we are concerned. Now, what is this mind? If you observe your own mind, which is the Western mind, I'm not dividing West and East. I'm talking here to you who are the Westerners. Therefore, it's there for convenience sake. I do not regard the human mind as the West or the East. It's a human mind. Now, this mind is conditioned by a culture, by an environment, economic, social, climatic. This mind has been shaped through time, through knowledge, through experience, to face the world, to look at the world in terms of money, power, pleasure, and to be able to kill. Right? Look at it. Probably Christians have killed more people than any other people in the world. Including Genghis Khan and Tamerlane and all the rest of that gang. So you are conditioned to kill not only other human beings through scientific warfare, but also to kill animals for your food. And money has become extraordinarily important. The pursuit of money. Because having money gives you pleasure, position, so-called freedom, security. And you have been conditioned religiously to accept an image, transferring all your particular sorrows to that image. Your religion is based on authority, tradition, rituals, dogmas, the infallibility of certain people. Socially, you're seeking power. Competition is very rampant. And you can compete efficiently when you have great knowledge. So education is the cultivation of memory, so that you have an instrument of it which is efficient to kill, to survive. So that is your conditioning, as it is in the East, in a different way. I think there is no question about this, right? That conditioning is knowledge, right? Please, I'm talking, it doesn't mean I'm the only person talking. We are investigating together. And in this investigation, you see, technologically, scientifically, medically, you have advanced tremendously. But also, you have destroyed the earth. You have killed thousands and thousands of people for an idea or for money or for the exploitation of the earth. You call yourselves Christians. You say you love God and you kill man. This is your heredity. This is your conditioning. And as long as that there is no freedom from that conditioning, there cannot possibly be a transformation of the mind. Right? So, transformation of the mind implies total negation of this civilization, of this culture. You understand what we are talking about? Total denial of this monstrous culture that made us what we are. Each one fighting for himself. And in this culture we say we must work, change the world, different values, new structure. Why should I work? You say you must work in order to survive, which means maintain the structure as it is. And the reaction to that is, I won't work. Why should I work? I hope you're all following all this. Life has no meaning as it is now. Has it? You suffer. You're constantly in battle with yourself and with your wife, husband, with your neighbor, with your partner. Conflict. And your ethics says work. But your ethic doesn't say what is the meaning of life. Unless you find the meaning of life, why should I work? Either to support the structure or the new structure or a new kind of self-denial. You know what's happening in the world. Why should I work at all? And you are given, the culture has given a meaning to life in work. In the Christian gods. Meaning to life, going to the moon. Becoming a successful person in the world. Your meaning is out there. And that is losing its significance. These are all facts. And so, seeing all this made sorrow. One has shed tears, not sentimental tears. One has inquired, searched, looked here and there. None of them give the answer. They say, follow me, worship me, accept this pattern of behavior, work for another, don't work for yourself. Be concerned about the society, not about yourself. But all those statements have no meaning. Because one has not found the meaning of life, meaning of existence, which cannot be found in any book, in another. In following a guru, an authority, none of them give you the meaning of existence. You have to find it for yourself. That's what we're going to do. The speaker is not telling you the significance or the meaning of life, but together, and I mean together, like taking a journey, a walk together, we'll find out. And to find the meaning, not the purpose. Purpose, you can invent a purpose. If you are clever, intellectual, or fairly reasonable, fairly balanced, you can either invent or accept or put together a purpose. The purpose has no meaning. Purpose, the end of life, is totally different from the meaning of existence, meaning of life. The one becomes superficial, whereas if one is really inquiring into the deep meaning of living, then it leads the mind very, very far. So, our minds are conditioned from the moment we are born or previously till we die. And the transformation is the total freedom from this conditioning. And this conditioning exists through the various movements of culture. Artistic, religious, technological, political, economic, scientific, and all that. Can this mind be aware of this conditioning? Can you be aware of it? Aware in the sense, I mean by that word, to observe, please listen to this, to observe without any distortion. To observe your conditioning, that is your culture, your civilization, all the movements of social, all that's going on in the world, of which you are a part, to observe that, to become aware of that. We mean by that word aware, to observe without any distortion of opinion, conclusion, without the interference of your tendency or your particular experience. To be aware of this conditioning without any choice, just to watch. And in the observation of it, you will then deny, if you go deeply enough, totally all this culture. And yet you have to live in this world. That's the problem. You understand I hope you're following all this. To me this is I'm burning with it. How can this mind live in this world which is so appalling, so destructive, so meaningless, and turn my back on it completely? And I mean by turning back, actually put away all the rubbish it has put in my mind. Their religions, their attitudes, their opinions, their immorality, their sense of monetary the whole of that, the killing. Can I turn my back on it and yet live here? Not withdraw, run away into some monastery. That's no meaning. I do not know if you ever played that game. Of withdrawing from the world. Withdrawing into a monastery or into a room. Cutting everything out of, so that you're completely isolated. And if you have ever done it, even for a day or even for a week, you'll soon find out that's not the way out. That's again the movement of thought which, in its reaction to this mad, confused, insane world, says, I can only solve it by withdrawing it. So, my question is, first, can this mind, which is the result of this civilization and this culture, and therefore has very little meaning, can the mind become aware of it, choicelessly, observe, and yet I have to live here. I have to do things every day. How is this possible? You following all this? First of all, we must be very clear that the description is not the described, right? What we have described, put into words, is not the thing itself. And second, are you very certain, clear, that there must be radical transformation? Not have your finger in this social order or in this church or in this sect or in this book or in this total transformation. And third, this mind, which is the result of this culture, this civilization, It's a result of that. And to be free of that conditioning, you must totally deny the culture. And yet live in this world.
The second extract is from the second small group discussion in Rome 1972 and is titled Western Civilization is Based on Measurement.
You are the product, West is the product of Greece, Grecian civilization, Grecian thought, Grecian mathematics and so on, Grecian culture, mixed with Judaism and so on, so on, so on. That is, the Greeks maintained, that's what I've been told by experts who know something of what they are talking about. We'll take it with a pinch of salt, that measurement was measuring. Mathematics is based on measurement. Thought is based on measurement. That all the technological world which the present civilization has developed is based on measurement. Right? Right? And the Orient, that's the India, which exploded over the whole of Asia, said measurement is illusion. Listen to it, I'm not taking sides. They said it was illusion. And their word, Ma, is to measure. Maya is illusion. And that's got other meanings which I won't. So, they said, West said measurement is essential for growth, culture, living. The others said measurement in any form is illusion. Because measurement, listen to it, measurement means time from here to there, and time is the invention of thought. They don't say this, I'm telling you this. And one must reject all that to find out the immeasurable, which is not measurable. Just listen to it. But the ancient Indians employed thought to go beyond the measure. You get it? They said you must control it, you must subjugate it, you must discipline it, concentrate. You follow? So you have these two movements in the world. One, establishing firmly measurement as a way of life. Measurement means, listen, comparison, imitation, conformity. And the whole structure of religious Western religious civilization is based on imitation, conformity, personal mythological worship, and so on, so on, so on. They said it's all wrong. And you must go beyond it, all beyond measure. Therefore, they said, control. To go beyond measurement, they use thought. You follow? I wonder if you understand this.
So it's the same thing?
That's just it. They started out, but it's the same movement. Now, what I want to get at is, it's terribly exciting this, you don't know what it means. The whole movement of thought is this, right? And it is based on measurement, both sides. And I built up extraordinary structure, both technologically, psychologically, and philosophically, in the sense, philosophy is the love of truth, which is measureless, but they use the intellect to cultivate all kinds of theories about truth. They have built this enormous structure. And I am part of it, as you are. You're following all this? Right, sir? I'm just stating facts. It's not my opinion. And I'm part of that. The religion, the nationality, the economic environment, the social division as class, Brahman, and all that, I am the result of all that. Right? And I or you together have produced this world. If I want to change, I must reject totally everything. Reject all measurement. You understand what I'm telling you? Which is reject, please don't misunderstand, all the movement of thought completely. Because thought has produced this. The class divisions, the economic divisions, the religious divisions, the me and the you, we and they, the communists, the socialists, the Maos, you follow, the division is created by this measurement of thought. And I am the result of it. And if this mind is the result of it, and if that mind is to put the fire out, fire which has been created by measurement, by thought, the mind must reject the whole structure of thought.
The final extract in this episode is from Krishnamurti's third talk in Saanen 1973 and is titled Freedom from the Conditioning of Civilisation.
We said we had two central problems. One, knowing what the world is, which each one of us has created, with all its fragmentation and division, with its brutality, chicanery, deceptions, violence and wars, and all the horrors that are going on, to turn our back against it, away from it, totally, and yet live in this world. Can this be done? That's what we were talking about. And we shall, if we may, go further into the matter. I do not know if you have considered how serious all this is. That it's not an entertainment, an amusement, something that one seeks out of pleasure or out of despair, but rather being aware of the whole situation, the various intricacies in the world movement, both historically, outwardly and inwardly, is it possible to turn our backs away from it, to turn away from it? That is, to turn away from the culture, the civilization, all the man has put together throughout the centuries, and free the mind from that conditioning. That's one issue. Then the other issue is whether it is possible in the very process of unconditioning the mind to live in this world, not of it, not be involved in it, but yet live in it. I do not know if you saw the other day on the television, happened to turn it on by chance, people killing baby seals. Man has destroyed the nature, exterminated a certain species of animals and birds. Man has created the most beautiful cathedrals in the world, and extraordinary mosques and temples. Great literature, music, painting. And that's all part of our culture. The beauty, the ugliness, the cruelty, the immense destruction of man by man. That's part of our civilization, of which we are. I do not know if you really realize deeply what is involved in all this, both economically, socially, religiously. If you have examined it fairly deeply, be concerned whether the structure can be changed. The structure that has created this world. And what has brought about this structure. And by merely changing the structure, will you change the man? This has been one of the problems of the world. Change the outer, then man will be changed inwardly. That has always been one of the arguments. But you see that it doesn't work that way. So man has to change, and thereby also change the structure. Now, can the mind, your mind, be free from this culture? And what does it mean to be free from the culture? Is it a matter of analysis? Is it a matter of time? Is it a matter of more rational, logical conclusions of thought? Or is it a non-movement of thought? Please go into this with me a little bit. Perhaps it may be little. You may not be used to this kind of thinking. You may not have thought about it at all. So please have little patience and thereby share together this extraordinary question. Can this conditioning of the mind, which has been brought about through time, experience and knowledge, can this be analyzed, analytically dissolved, this conditioning? That's one point. Analysis, the very word means to break up. The analyzer and the analyzed, which is the breaking up. And through fragmentation, we hope to understand and dissolve the complex problem of conditioning, both at the conscious as well as at the unconscious levels. Can this be done? Through analysis. Of course, when you look at the problem of analysis, in it is involved the analyzer and the analyzed, taking months, years, and by that time you may be dead, and all that involves time. I can analyze myself very, very carefully, step by step, investigate the cause, the effect becoming the cause, which is a chain in which analysis is caught. You're following all this, I hope. And whether the mind can analyze itself and dissolve all its peculiarities, violence, superstitions, the various contradictions, and thereby bring about a total harmony through analysis. As we said, analysis implies time. And what is time? Time is both physical as well as psychological movement. If you have watched yourself, a movement from here to there, physically. A movement psychologically, from what is to what should be, or what is transforming that through an ideology which is a movement in time. Right? May I go on with it? Please, we are sharing together this problem, this question. You're not just listening to me. We are traveling together. We are investigating together. Finding out what is true together. You're not accepting what the speaker is saying. That has no value whatsoever. Neither verbally nor in reality. What has reality is when we, through investigation, through observation, through very careful awareness, share that which we discover, each one of us, for ourselves. Then that has validity. Then it has substance. Then it has meaning. But merely listening to a series of words and translating this into idea and then that putting that idea into action has no significance. So we were saying, time is movement. Time, movement as moving from here to there, going to the room I live in. That takes time. Psychologically, also it's a movement from what is and changing that to what should be. What is the result of the past, which is a movement in time to the present, and what should be is the movement in the future. The whole movement is time. Right? And thought is always a process in time. For thought is the response of memory, which is the past, which is the knowledge which is the past, and according to that conditioning, it reacts, which is a movement. So thought is a movement in time. And analysis is a movement in time. Now, can this analysis in time, and analysis means time. Analysis means the movement of thought examining itself. And if you go into it deeply, our conditioning is to analyze. We are conditioned to that. And we never see that the cause becomes the effect and the effect becomes the cause. Right? That's a movement in time. So through analysis, there is no freedom from time. Analysis does not free the mind, which is the result of time. Right? I wonder if you see this. Please, if you don't understand this, we'll ask questions afterwards. Keep your question if you don't understand it. And I hope we understand this fairly simple. It is fairly simple if you observe it in yourself. I'm angry. I analyze the cause. And in the process of analysis, I come to a conclusion, which is the effect. And that conclusion becomes the cause to a next effect. All that is a movement of thought in time. Thought is time. And thought has built this conditioning. After all, our culture is the result of thought. As feeling, physical responses, and so on. So, analysis cannot possibly resolve the conditioning of the human mind. I hope it's clear. Not the verbal statement, but the truth of it. The actual fact of it. Not the assertion or the repetition that analysis will not free the mind. That has no value. So, the mind, seeing the falseness of analysis, discovers the truth that lies, that analysis does not free the mind. That is, discovering the truth in the false. I wonder if you get all. Then, analysis also implies not only the conscious mind, of the conscious mind, but also the deep layers of the unconscious, which is also the result of time. This division between the conscious and the unconscious is artificial. Consciousness is total. We may divide it, we may break it up to examine. But it's a total movement within the field, within the area of time. And the unconscious becomes not important when you are able to look at the whole of consciousness and its content. You understand? We look at ourselves fragmentarily. We look at ourselves through the action of thought. Am I making any sense? No? One moment, we'll discuss it a little later. Let me talk a while, if you don't mind. Look, sir, my consciousness is a total movement. My consciousness can be broken up as the conscious as the unconscious, as action and inaction, as greed, envy, non-envy. It's a total thing. It's a total movement which can be fragmented in order to examine. And I see that examination of fragments doesn't bring about a comprehension of the total. Right? What is needed is to be aware of the total, not merely of the fragments. To be aware of the whole movement of consciousness which is in the area of time, right? Can I, as thought, explore this consciousness? Won't somebody meet me halfway in this? So what I'm trying to say is, I have never personally analyzed myself at all. What has happened is to observe, and the very observation reveals the total. Because there is no intention of going beyond what is. Going beyond what is the movement in time. Is that fairly clear? I'll go on to you to get it. So I see clearly the mind can, without analysis, discover, see, observe the total movement of consciousness. That's one point. What we are concerned with is whether the mind can free itself from its conditioning. We see, I see, not you. I see it cannot be, it cannot free itself from its conditioning through analysis. That's very clear. And logically, sanely, reasonably, it is so if you go into it. All that involves time, and through time, to dissolve time is not possible. Then, can thought dissolve it? Can thought transform, free the mind from the conditioning? Now, please listen to this. Thought is movement in time. Thought is movement, and therefore time. And the examination by thought of the movement of the conditioning is still within the field of time. Therefore, thought cannot possibly resolve the conditioning, because it is thought as knowledge, experience, memory that has brought about this civilization in which the mind has been educated. That's clear. So thought cannot resolve it. Analysis cannot, thought cannot. Then what have you? You understand? We have used thought as a means of conquering, destroying, changing, analyzing, overcoming. And I see thought cannot possibly bring freedom to the mind. So thought is movement. Wait a minute. Non-movement is freedom from time. Right? Non-movement of thought is a state in which the mind is free from time. Now, I'll go into this. You will see this. the conditioning of civilization, culture, has said, I must be competitive, has taught me to be violent, or rather helped me to be more violent. So the mind is violent. That is what is. Can the mind be free of violence, which is what is, without the movement of thought? You understood my question? I'm violent. And thought says, it is necessary in this civilization to be somewhat violent. Thought says, overcome that violence. Thought says, control that violence. Utilize that violence, which is encouraging, controlling, shaping that violence for its own purposes. That's what we are doing all the time. So thought, being a movement, is all the time acting upon what is, which is also the result of time and thought, right? Now, can thought have no movement at all, but only the what is remains, and no interference of thought with regard to what is? You understand what I'm saying? Look, sir, I'm violent. I know all the causes, how it has come about. I won't go into it. That's fairly clear. Part of the culture, part of the economic situation, encouragement, education, so on. Right. I'm violent. That's a fact. That is what is. Can the mind look at what is without any movement? Any movement is time. Right? So can the mind observe that violence without non-thought? That is, without time. Have you understood my question? At least. Because all my conditioning says, use thought. Control it, shape it, put it away, struggle against it, fight it. It's ugly to be violent. You want to be peaceful. Human beings should be peaceful. So it has all the reasons, justifications, condemnations, which are all movements of thought. And thought is time and movement is time. And there is only the fact that this human being is violent. That's the only what is. That's clear up to there. Can the mind look at what is without any movement? And then look at what is. Let's examine what is. The what is violence. Right? And I've used a word to indicate a feeling which I have called violence. I've used a word I've used a word with its meaning which I've already used before. Right? So I am recognizing the feeling in terms of the old. When I recognize something, it must be the old. So what is the result of thought. Right? And the mind meets without movement, which means without time, that which has been put together by thought, which I have called violence. So when non-movement meets time, thought, which is the movement of time, then what takes place? You're following all this? Look, sir, my son dies. I suffer a great deal for various reasons. Loneliness, despair, and so on, so on. Then thought comes along, or thought says, I must overcome it. What is suffering. And the movement of thought is time. And the mind meets that suffering and tries to do something about it. Get away from it, run away from it, seek comfort, seances, mediums, belief. It goes through all that process, which is all a movement of time as thought. Now, to meet that suffering without any movement, then what takes place? Have you ever tried this? Have you? If you have, you will see the non-movement completely transforms the movement of time. That means suffering doesn't leave a mark on the mind at all. Because non-movement is timeless. And that which we call suffering is time. And that cannot possibly touch that which is not of itself. I must go on. Sorry if you don't understand this. So, the mind being conditioned through culture, through environment, through knowledge, through experience, all that is the movement of time. And thought is also movement of time, is movement. So the thought cannot possibly transform or free the mind from its conditioning, nor analysis. So, can the mind observe this conditioning, this educated entity, without any movement? Then you will see, if you do it, that all sense of control, imitation, conformity totally disappears.